Okay, today we will complete this exception handling. Tomorrow we will continue. We will discuss. Not tomorrow. After 2 days, we will start understanding about IO streams. So before understanding IO streams, I want you to understand this exception handling in Java. Okay. So this topic is going to be very interesting, and you would come across in uh, in many situations where you have to handle the exceptions. But the question is, what is an exception in Java? Right? So before understanding what is an exception in Java, we will try to understand what is an exception that you come across in day-to-day life. Okay, when I say exception, so you can understand it like this: an unexpected event, an unexpected expected event is called as an exception. Right? So we do come across exception in every day-to-day life, knowingly or unknowingly. For example, right, if you want to go to your college, okay, you're starting from point A, and your college is somewhere, and I'm just naming it as point B. There are 2 points. If you want to reach from point A to point B, let us say that the point A is your home, the point B is your college. So you have decided to go to your college by your bike. Okay, let us say that the distance is about 20 kilometers. So once you have decided to go to your college by bike, okay, you're choosing your bike to go to your college. Okay. So do you think that what could go wrong when you just go to your college by bike? What are the things that could go wrong? What is the major thing that even you don't consider that before going, but it could happen? What is that thing that could go wrong in this
And
situation?
puncture,
Puncture, right? Puncture is the first thing.
petrol.
Okay, there are high chances that you would have a flat tire. Second one is what, you would run out of petrol. Okay, the least
Maybe
chances.
traffic police.
Yeah, okay, traffic police, you would be stopped by the traffic police. Okay? And what are the chances? And you would also end up in your bike won't start. Okay, it will end up in getting repaired. Okay? Your bike won't function as no. Your bike can go wrong. Okay, it would behave abnormally, so it won't start, or all of a sudden it stops. Okay, so apart from this, so these are the major things, right? So this is an exception, right, which you don't even consider at the time of starting your bike, but these things could happen. Okay, this is how it could go wrong. Now the question is, how we are going to handle this? That is the question. So you are saying that the exception would happen, right? So exception would happen, but how these things are handled? Okay. So what happens if you do not, fix your flat tire? So you are facing the bike puncture, but you are not fixing the puncture. Okay. If you are not finding any shops nearby, so from point A to point B, you're not finding any puncture shops. What is the only option? You have just traveled the halfway, right? What is the only option? Okay, you cannot go, you cannot proceed further. You have to return back, right? For example, you have just traveled there, and you are not even finding the puncture shop. It is not there. Which means what? You cannot proceed further. The only thing that you can do is you can just come back, right? Hello, are you
Yes,
getting what I'm
sir.
trying to say?
Yes.
Which means it is not handled. Okay, so you are not finding a way to handle it, or else you can also consider like this: your bike has got punctured, or you're running out of petrol, but you do not have money, even though you are finding shops, but you don't have any money, which means you're not able to handle it. So can you complete your task? What is your actual task here? You want to go to the college, that is the actual task, right? If the task is completed, then it is like, okay, your task has been completed. If you're encountering any one of the situations, okay, any one of the situations, it means, right, you need to either handle it. If you're not able to, there might be a lot of reasons where you cannot handle it gracefully. One of the reasons is you won't be having money, or there won't be any shops, any pencil shops, or there won't be any petrol bunks, or else you would end up in getting caught by traffic police, but you do not have license. These are the cases where you cannot handle it gracefully. The only option that you have is, when you get caught with the traffic police, you have to leave the bike there For the other cases, what you can do, you can just return, right? Which means it is not, the task is incomplete, right? Can I say the task is going to be incomplete if it is not handled?
Yes, sir.
Going to be incomplete, right? Incomplete. When I want to convert this to this analogy to the Java programming language, what is the thing? Okay, the thing that you're encountering, if you encounter any one of these things, with respect to Java programming language, that is called as what? Exception, right? If you're not handling it gracefully, when you're not handling it means instead of going to college by handling it, if you're just returning back to your home, it is not handled gracefully, right? Okay. So if you're not handling gracefully, abnormal termination will occur. Abnormal termination. With respect to Java, you encounter an abnormal termination. I will tell you. Okay. And if you handle it gracefully, okay, with if you have money and if you have shops, if you're handling it gracefully, it is called as what? Exception handling. I understand these jargons. What is exception? What is exception handling? What is abnormal termination? Okay, if you
Yes,
just
sir.
want to convert this to the Java program, very simple. You are just writing a Java code. Okay, let us say that. But Java code is something, it looks like this, guys. Have class here. Okay. And you have some lines of code. Okay, let us say that you have some lines of code. There are hundreds of lines. Okay. Let us say that an exception is occurring here. So this is a code that would face an exception. If you handle it gracefully, the remaining code will be executed. If you are handling it gracefully, okay? If you are not handling it, the termination, okay, the JVM will stop till here. Okay, remaining execution, remaining piece of code will not get executed. This will not get executed. It will stop here if you are not handling it. Okay, the thing that is occurring here is called as an exception. This is an exception. It's an exception. Okay, I will show you the code where you can see exceptions. An exception. Okay, and if you have a solution to handle it gracefully, okay, if you are handling it gracefully and if you are ensuring that the remaining lines of codes are not affected, okay, you have to use exception handling. If you are not handling it gracefully, okay, and if the program terminates abnormally just here, it is called as what? Abnormal termination. Are you getting what I'm trying to say about the jargons?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Now let us understand. Okay, now we have understood what is an exception. And we can also say that, for example, let us say that, okay, one more example I will give you. You are asked to give a presentation for your project, okay, and you just woke up at 4 a.m. in the morning, 4 a.m. The time is 4 a.m. and you started opening your laptop, okay, and you started opening the PowerPoint, and you keep, adding the slides, and your presentation was very much perfect until 7 a.m. Till 7 a.m. you have completed almost 90%. Okay, but you did not save your what? Progress. You did not save your progress. Okay, let us say that there is a power cut. Power cut. If there is a power cut, if you're not saving your presentation, right, don't you think that it is an abnormal termination? Hello? Let us say
Yes,
that
sir.
you want to present this in your college at 9 a.m. Okay, and this is your actual plan. This is your absolute plan, but your plan is getting violated. How it is getting violated? It's getting violated because of you itself. Why you're like, you are not having any kind of alternative. Okay, if you're saving it, okay, if you keep saving it every minute, okay, which means you are expecting some kind of trouble may come. You're expecting that, and you keep hitting the save button every time, okay, thinking that something could go wrong, right? So you keep hitting the save button once in every minute. So this is called as what? Exception handling. You have an alternate way to handle this properly. You're handling it. If the power goes wrong, it has to be handled gracefully. How you are handling it gracefully with this example? You just keep hitting the save button. Okay. What is the power cut that I'm talking about? If there is a power cut, that is an exception. Okay, and if an exception is encountered and if you're handling it gracefully, you're using exception handling. If you're not handling it gracefully, okay, that thing is called as what? The abnormal termination. Can you get back the presentation that we have just prepared for almost 3 hours? All right, it won't be saved, right? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, these are just think about the exception one. Second one is how do you handle exception. Third one is what is an abnormal termination. These things will understand programmatically. Before even understanding this, now go back to the theory. Now tell me in Java what is an exception. An exception is an event that disrupts the normal flow of a program execution. Do you agree with that? This line is giving justification,
Yes.
right? After
Yes, sir.
this, what is an example it is giving? It usually occurs when something unexpected happens, such as divide by zero, okay, or invalid index, and failing to open a file. This is called as an exception. Okay. Next question is how do we handle an exception? That is a second thing. Before understanding to handle an exception, we have to understand what is a runtime, stack mechanism. That is the question that we have to understand. What is a runtime stack mechanism? Okay. So to understand this, let me create a small Java code. Now you tell me the output. Okay. So I have one main method, and after this main method, I am taking another static method. Let us say that static void check. Okay. So this is a method. The name of the method is check method. Inside this check method, what I want to do is I just want to say something here. Check method. Right. After this, I am taking another method here. Okay, the name of the method is going to be what? The name of this method is going to be check again. Just want to do what? I just want to say check again. Let me remove this. Okay. So this check again method is going to do what? It is going to just print the hello in the console. Okay. Now the main method is calling the check method. Check method is calling what? Check again method. Check again method. Okay. Now you say that what is our output? By looking at this, you can say that what is output. What is the output that we can expect? Hello is the output, right? You can say anyone can say, anyone with eyes can say our output is going to be hello in the console. Very straightforward. Okay? Yeah, but what is happening behind the scenes? We are intended to understand the runtime stack mechanism. Internally, how these things are happening. Okay, let me copy this and paste it here. New class. So this is our code. So usually what we do, we actually start doing the compilation, right? We know those things. We don't want to repeat that once again. After compilation, okay, JVM will come into the picture. And don't you think that main thread will be created? So main thread will access which method?
Check.
Main method. Main thread will try to look for the main method. Yes or no? So here is the main method, right? So all the instructions inside the main method will get executed. Yes or no? Hello? At the time of executing, okay, in the JVM, a frame will be created. Please understand, please focus here. A frame will be created. If you ask me what is a frame, it is a kind of a stack. Let us think it like a bucket. Think it like a bucket. Okay. So where the execution is starting from the JVM to the main method, right? So a main stack, okay, a frame will be created. This is called as what? This is called as runtime stack frame. Runtime stack frame. Stack frame of main thread. Okay. So the first method is main method, right? The runtime stack frame is going to store the identity of the main method, just like this. To ensure that the main method is added inside this runtime stack frame. Very simple. So since executing starting from the main method, so it is going to add this inside this stack frame. Okay. After this, the control goes inside the main method, right? And again, don't you think there is another call which is called as is calling the check method? Yes or no? Hello?
Yes, sir.
From here, the control will be traversed to the check method. Okay. Again, there is a method, right? For that, again, one more frame will be created inside. What is the name of this frame? It will just mark it, keep it as the it is going to use the same method name itself. The name of the method is check. Okay. Again, from here, where the call is going, it is going inside the check method, and again internally it is calling what the check again method. Sir, no? Hello,
Sir.
right? Check
Yes,
again
sir.
method. So check again method, for this also a frame will be created by the JVM that is going to have the method name itself. What is it? Check again. Okay, 3 frames are created. After this, inside this, the actual call is what? Okay, allow has to get displayed in the console, right? Allow will be displayed on the console. Just think that this is the console, and you would see what? You would see allow. Right? Once this allow is executed, don't you think that it has to come back to the place where it was sent previously? So from the check again method, it has to go to the check method. Yes or no? Hello? So the job of the check
Yes, sir.
again method is done, right? Once the job of the check again method is done, the check again will be removed from the stack frame. I mean, the runtime stack frame. Job has been completed, right? So from here, the control go back to the check method now. I mean, check again. From here, it is going to go back to the place where it was sent previously. So again, check method. From check again method, it is going to go to the main method. From the check method, it is going to go to the main method. So the check method will be removed from the stack frame. Right? After this, from the main method, which call the main method, the main thread has called the main method, will go to the JVM. Okay, the main method will also be removed. Okay, after removing all this, okay, the runtime stack frame of main thread will be destroyed. Okay, sir, why you're telling all this? You might be thinking that these things are already known, but why we need to discuss all these things? Now let us say that we have a situation. You have understood this, not about the backtracking. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
These things are clear, right? Now you see what we are trying to do here is, instead of saying hello, my code has said what something, my code is going to generate an exception. Don't you think that 10 divide, what is the actual value that you're going to get if you divide any number by 0 according to mathematics?
It's undefined.
Undefined,
Infinity.
infinite, right? Infinite means it is such a big number, right? So, but in Java, you cannot store a big number. There is no such data type that is going to store a big number, or that is going to store an infinite number. Which means Java is not designed to handle this big number. Can I say that? Java is not designed to handle this big number. So
Yes,
Java
sir.
is not expecting this. Means since it is not having an option to store this big number, okay, it will get a confusion and will throw an exception, which means an unexpected event. Can I say that this line of code is going to create an unexpected event?
sir.
Yes.
Event, which is called as what? Which is called as an exception. If I simply run this code, see, now let me run this code. First, let me run this code, then we'll think about, we will discuss about what are the things that is happening in the code. You are seeing something, or something is coming here. Something is getting displayed on the console. Who is giving, who is displaying these things in the console? Who is the person displaying these things in the console? When you run this, okay, an exception is generated. That should be designed internally, right? Java has some logic inside, right? Someone has to handle this exception. Someone should say to the end users, some exception has occurred. Who is that someone? What is?
Runtime stack.
Yeah, correct. Almost you're close. Who is that someone is? Okay. Inside Java has already have a mechanism to handle this kind of situation. What kind of mechanism? That mechanism is called as what? Default exceptional handling mechanism. What is it? Default exception handling mechanism. Default exception handling mechanism. It is nothing but how the default exceptions are handled in Java programming language. Let us copy the same piece of code and paste it here. Okay. Same piece of code I am pasting it here. We know that compilation will happen. JVM is going to create the main thread, and we know these things already. So now what is the point here? Okay, the execution will start from the main method, and we know the control is this. Okay, so before even starting the execution, the stack frame will be created. We have just discussed this. Okay, it is going to have main method first, right? Okay, after this, what is the function? What is the method that is calling again? Once again, inside the main method, check method, right? So it is going to call the check method. So check method will be loaded as a stack frame here. After this, it is calling check again method. Check again method. So this is how the stack frames are one after the another. Internally, stack is following LIFO algorithm. Do you remember LIFO? Last in first out?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, last in first. Same algorithm it is going to follow. Right? Now there is a problem here. What is the problem? That this line of code, okay, is generating an exception. Okay, as soon as this particular line is generating an exception, now observe here, this line is generating an exception. Okay, in which method the exception is generated? Can you tell me? In which method? Check again method, right? So that method is given responsible to create an object called default exception object. This method is responsible because the method is getting generated inside this. The exception is getting generated inside this check again method. So this method would take the responsibility to create an object called what? Default exception object. What is it? Default exception. Okay, this default exception object is going to have three variables. One is what? The name. One is the name variable. Second one is what? Second one is the description variable. Okay. The third one is you get what? You get something like the name, description, and the line numbers. So I would say that it would be having something like on which line of code the respective exception is created. Name of the exception is what kind of exception is going to throw, description, and the stack frame information. So this was created by which one? This was created by which method? Hello? The exception object was created by which method?
Check again.
Check again method. Okay. Name, description, stack frame information is also called as the location. You can say location. On which location exactly? Okay. So name, typically the name could be, so it is called as the arithmetic exception. AEM, I'm writing the shortcut. Arithmetic exception. Description could be something like, okay, divide by 0. Divide by. And location it could be like on exactly on which line the exception has been created. It is going to give the specific information. So object has been created successfully. So now JVM will ask, okay, JVM, not JVM, the main thread. Okay, JVM, typically JVM will ask the check again method, are you handling this exception gracefully or not? Do you have any handling code to handle this exception? Okay, default exception object is created. Okay, and it will ask again, okay, you have created default exception object. Do you have the handling code or are you handling this exception gracefully? Okay, what check again method will say? Check again method will say that I do not have the handler code. I am not handling this exception. What JVM will say, okay, no issues if you are not handling this exception. Who has called you first of all? Check again method was called by which method? Check again method was called. Who
Check
is the caller?
check
Check
check.
method. Okay, now the JVM will check with the check method. A check method, because of you an exception has been generated because you call check again method. It does not have the handling code. Do you have the handling code or not? Right? Before the control goes here, okay, since it is not having the handling code and the program is going to terminate abnormally, okay, so check again method will be removed forcefully, not gracefully, forcefully. Remember this. It will not be removed from the stack gracefully. It will be removed forcefully because abnormal termination. Check again will be removed forcefully. From here, the control goes back here. The JVM will ask the check method, do you have the handling code or not? Because you are the caller of check again method. You have that. It would say, I do not have the handling code. Okay. So check method will also be removed forcefully. Right. After this, okay, which method called check method here?
Main method.
Main method.
Method.
It will check with the main method. Main method, do you have the handling code for the exception generator? Because of you are the caller of check method, which does not have the handling code. Do you have the handling code or not? Main method will say, I do not have the handling code. I do not have the handling code. Okay, what could be here? The main method will also be terminated forcefully. Now the main thread. Now the JVM will ask the main thread, do you have a logic to handle this exception or not? What is left here? Main thread. Do you have a logic to handle the generated exception or not? It says, I do not have the logic. I do not have the logic. Don't worry. What will happen? Internally, JRE will maintain this exception handler. JRE will maintain the exception handler. The exception object has been created now. This default exception object. It will be traveling from check again method to check again method to check method, from check method to main method, from main method to main thread. From main method, it will be given to the JRE. JRE is for what? Java runtime environment. JRE is responsible to print this information detailedly in the console. That's the reason why you're seeing the output as like this. Don't you think that you are seeing something like here you have the name of the exception, arithmetic exception. What is the description divided by 0? Okay, on which line it is occurred? Okay, abnormal termination started from which line? From line number 17, from line number 13, from line number 7. If you just trace these lines, okay, line number 17 is this line number 17. Exception of second error. Sam, do you agree with that? Okay, since it is not handling
Yes, sir.
gracefully, it is going back and checking the check again method. So this line is also printed, right? Line number 13. Since this method is also not handling it, it is going to go back and check in the main method. What is the line number here that is responsible? Line number 7, right? Are you seeing the line number 7? All the
Yes, sir.
information. It is going to backtrack all the information. Which is responsible to backtrack all this information? The default exception mechanism is responsible to backtrack all this information and display the meaningful message in the console so that the end user or developer will know now. Okay, exception is occurred in these 3 lines. He will start backtracking. We'll start backtracking from line number 17. Okay, from here the exception has been delegated to line number 13. From here the exception is delegated to line number check because there is no proper handler here, no handling mechanism here. For example, if you're traveling in a bike, okay, and but I'm not saying just touch wood, I'm just saying if someone is traveling in a bike, he met with an accident, what is the first step? Even if he is surrounded by many citizens or many people around him, the first thing is they call the ambulance, right? Yes or no? Because
Yes,
at the
sir.
end he has to go to the hospital, right? At the end he has to go to the hospital, and all the things, okay, till going to hospital, the things that is being taken care in between the accident and going to hospital is called as a tracking. If he finds a doctor in the accident site itself, if it is a minor injury, it could recover. Okay, if no one is handling him, what is the final step? Going to the hospital, right? Are you getting it? If there is a way
Yes,
to handle
sir.
in
Yes, sir.
between, it is a kind of an option to handle it gracefully because that is an unexpected event. But there is a way, right? There is a way. Since it is not handled gracefully, he has to end up in the hospital. Same thing here. This is not handled by the current method, by the the exact method, check again method. So it is going back to the caller method. Even caller method is also not handling. It's going back to the caller method of the check method, main method. It is also not handling, and it is being given to the main thread. Main thread will collect the information. So this was generated by actually this object was generated by which method actually? Default exception object was generated by which method? This method. I mean the check again method, right? It has generated. Yeah. Okay. Since the exceptions are not handled gracefully, this object is not getting suppressed. It is being carried backward to the caller methods, and okay, this is getting displayed in the console. So who is taking care of what is taking care of all these things? Do you agree now that default exception handling mechanism is something there in Java which is taking care of all these things to display the meaningful message in the console? Yes, no?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, now you see, let me do a small trick here. Let us say that, okay, now I have a code like this. Okay, let me say let's keep this. Hello. Now you tell me what would be the output?
Exception.
No,
How check again printed, sir, and after that exception.
correct. Because if you just trace the calls, check method is called, right? Okay. What is the logic in the check method? Check method is again calling. The first line is what? Is calling check again method. Okay. Call is coming here. So this is going to get printed. Don't you think that the check again method has come as successfully? I mean, it is not part of the exception here. It's going to be removed gracefully from the stack trace, right? Let me show this problem. For the last time I will show. Now you will get the complete thing. Huh? Now you just look this code. We have something like stack frame of the. What is the first method? Main method, no? After main method, what is where the call is going? Check method, right? After check method, where the call is going? Check again method, right? Yep. So this is the actual stack, okay, which is following LIFO algorithm. Okay. So control is starting from here. Okay, from here is calling check method. Which is check method is calling check again method. So these are the calls. These are the method calls. Check again method. So check again method. This is getting executed successfully. When this is getting executed successfully, don't you think that this is going to come out of the stack trace called gracefully without any abnormal termination? Right? It has escaped. No, it has no exception is here. It has exited the stack trace gracefully. That's why I'm putting it, highlighting it in the green color. After this, it has to go back to the place where it was sent, right? The main thread has to go back to the place from where it was called, right? To the caller method, right? So what is the caller method? Check again method. So what is the next line? The next line is going to throw an exception. Do you agree with that? This is the dangerous line, no?
Yes, sir.
This is handled gracefully. It is not handled gracefully. So with which method generated this exception? Check method. So don't you think that check method is responsible to create the default exception object? Hello?
Yes, sir.
So this default exception object has been created by the check method. So it is going to have the information, name of the exception, description, and what else you have? Location. Okay, what is the name of the exception? Arithmetic exception. And what is the description? It is going to have the description, location, right? So it will mark the line where the exception is generated. It will identify the line. Okay. Now JVM, the JVM will ask the check method, do you have the handling code or not? Does not have the handling code. Okay, it will check with the caller method. What is the caller method? Main method, right? Since the exception is generated in the check method, it's going to terminate the check method forcefully, not gracefully, forcefully. Yes or no? Right? And the JVM, okay, the default exception object will be handed over to main method. Okay, main method is also not handling the exception, so that will be terminated forcefully. This default exception object will be given to the main thread. The main thread will take this default exception object. Even it is also not handling, it does not have the handling code, exception handling mechanism. Okay, it is going to give this information to the JRE. At the time of rolling back, at the time of back paging, it will capture this line number. Okay, let us say that line number is something like 12. Okay, and it is going to go back to the main method, right? So this is responsible, this is a caller method. It's going to capture this line number also. Let us say something like 7. These two line numbers will be displayed in the console. If I just run this, so to see that line number 14 and line number 7. Why line number 14? Because exception occur on line number 14. Why line number 7? Because that is the caller method. Do you see those information in the console? Hello? Yes,
Yes,
no?
sir.
So this is why who is tracking this default exceptional handling mechanism is something that is working in the Java to handle the exceptions that is not handled by the developer gracefully. Now we will also understand how to handle that gracefully. Now are you able to understand who is now? It is clear now. Who is displaying this message? It is clear now.
Yes,
Hello?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Now if I just do the same, okay, if I just say this, okay. Now how many locations you would see here?
One location.
Only one location. Now can you tell me which method is responsible to generate exception? Who is going to create the
Main method.
main method, right? So you will have only one location here. You agree with that? Line number 8. It's being very specific, no? Line number 8. Hello? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now you see, do you think we are going to see the same results here?
Yes, sir. Same result.
This in the console level it is going to be same. The console level it is going to be same, but in the memory level, okay, what happens? This check and this check again will never come out. Okay, they are not forcefully terminated or they are not gracefully terminated. Are you getting what I am trying to say? I mean, it is not going to be part of what? It is not going to be part of the stack frame.
Only main method will be
Yeah,
part
only
of the
main
stack.
method will be there. First line is this one, right? So exception has occurred. So there is no role for check method. So it is not calling check method. So this is not going to be part of the stack frame. Only main method will be there. Are you getting?
Yes, sir.
This is
Yes,
the
sir.
concept of what? This is the concept of default exceptional handling mechanism and default exception object. Okay, default exception object usually will be created by which one? Will be created by the method that is actually throwing the exception. Okay. The next question is now. Okay, we have understood what is the exception. Now let us understand what is the exception hierarchy. What is what? Exception hierarchy. So what is the root class for all the classes in Java? Which is the root class? Which is the parent class for all the classes in Java?
Object.
Object class, right? Likewise, for all the exceptions, okay, the root class is something called as throwable. What is throwable? Throwable is the root class for all the exception classes in Java. And again, for throwable, the parent class is object. Okay, there is a different scenario, but for all the exceptions, the root class is it's specific to exceptions. For all the exceptions, the root class is for throwable class. What is throwable? Throwable is a class. Okay, under throwable, you have two concepts. Okay, you have two classes again. What are they? One is what? One is the exception class. Second one is what? The error class. Right? So this exception class is the no, I mean the exception and the throw class. They are the child classes to throwable class. Do you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
They are child classes to
Yes, sir.
throwable. Okay. So under exception, see now what is the difference between exception and an error? Question is what is the difference between exception and error? Exception is something that is going to happen in the Java code. So to handle exceptions, the developers are responsible. They basically happen in the Java programming language. So whatever the code that you write in Java, and if you think that an exception can occur, it can occur. So it can happen. It can basically happen in Java code. But errors are not part of Java code. Errors can be something like it could be part of networking. It could be part of operating system. For example, if you are running out of memory error will become. That is not part of Java code, right? You do not have many memory to run your Java code, and your operating system is giving an error. It's going to give an error that you don't have memory. That is not part of Java code. Are you getting? Hello? When something
Yes,
is
sir.
not part of Java code, and if you get an unexpected event, that is called as an error. If you are encountering an unexpected event in the Java code, that is exception. Okay, if you are encountering an unexpected event which is not part of Java code, is called as an error. For example, you typically will get out of memory error.
Sir, no.
Out of memory.
Sir, no.
Hello?
Sir, doubt, sir.
Ask.
What about syntax errors?
Syntax errors. Oh, this is a good thing. Syntactical errors, they will be taken care by the compiler itself. For example, syntactical errors, for example, you may miss this phrases. Okay, these are the simple compilation checks. Compiler is responsible to do all these checks. That is not an unexpected event, right? That is a mistake done by, that is a kind of mistake done syntactically, syntactically. You are not okay. So you might be running many number of codes. Okay, based on the inputs or based on the method calls. If some exception can occur, which is an unexpected event, is part of the business logic. That is an exception. So when you miss any syntax, that will be taken care of by the compilation itself. There compile time errors again.
Understood.
Understood, no? This exception or what? It can be again. This exception can be runtime as well as compile time, and there is a concept of checked and unchecked exception. We will see that. And to understand about these syntax errors deeply, I will take you a class called JVM class. Okay, JVM architecture for future. Over there, you can differentiate much better. For now, keep it very simple. Syntax errors will be taken care by compiler itself, and since it is taken by compiler, our code will not run, right? First of all, the JVM will not come in the picture. It will be blocked by the compiler itself. You're getting it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So exception again, under exception, you have so many things, guys. You have something like runtime exception. What is this runtime exception? What is this? Hello? Class. Runtime exception is a class. IO exception is there. What is IO exception? Again, class.
Yes.
They are classes. Okay, runtime exception, IO exception. You have something like interrupted exception. This is part of multi-threading. Interrupted. You have something like SQL exception. So many things are there, right? You have remote exception is there. Okay. And these are the exceptions. So which is part of what? Which is part of which class? They are subclass of exception. Under exception, you have how many classes? You have many classes. These are the main classes, right? Your runtime exception class, IO exception class, interpreter exception class, remote exception class, and so many classes are there. Okay, they are not important. So these are the classes that is very important that you would come across very often. Likewise, I can extend this tree. Okay, this is going to be like that. So many classes are there. Right? So under again runtime exception, you have so many things. You have so many subclasses. So when I say runtime exception, it happens after the compilation during the runtime. So it happens inside the JVM. Yeah, what is the exception that we have understood in the default exception handling mechanism? What is that exception? Name of the exception? Arithmetic exception, right? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Null pointer exception is there. Class cast exception is there. Okay, and again index out of bound, IOB, index out of bound exception. They are what? They are the subclasses of. When I say a arithmetic exception, it is the subclass of runtime exception. Under runtime exception, you have these many subclasses. Index of, and again under index out of bound exception, you have again it is categorized. It has two subclasses. One is what? Array index out of bound. The second one is what? String index out of bound. We'll understand each and everything in detail. Okay. And again IO exception is going to have the SQL exception is there. Okay. Yesterday we have seen no file not found exception. Do you remember yesterday's class?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
File not found exception. I was telling you because we have handled that gracefully. That's why we did not face any issues. Okay. What is it? File not found. File not found exception. Yes, you have something like end of the file exception. Typically, it is represented EOF exception. EOF exception. EOF exception. It is one. It is just one. One word. Okay. So and again, okay, there are so many exceptions here. Interpreter exception, we'll see that in the multi-threading classes. Remote exception not required. So under errors, you have three subclasses. One is what? One is VM error, virtual machine error. The second one is what? Linkage error. So under VM error, you have stack overflow error. So what is stack overflow? We will understand this. I will tell you in the real-time example. Second one is out of memory error. Okay. Again, linkage error, verify error. You have something like verify error. Okay, so this is the class again. Under this class, you have these two subclasses. The subclass is part of, okay, and the linkage error has one subclass. It has many subclasses. I am just highlighting the main one, verify error. Okay, and this is the hierarchy, basic hierarchy of an exception. Okay. So what is the root class of all the Java classes? Object classes. When someone is asking you what is the root class of the exception hierarchy, what is the root class of exception hierarchy?
Throwable.
Throwable is the root class of what? Root class of exception hierarchy. Right? So again, with this we have to understand two more concepts, which is what? There are again two concepts are very, very important for the interview. One is the checked exception. I'm not sure if you have heard this or not. Checked exception. Second one is unchecked exception. A simple example I'm giving it to you. You know that here it is an exception, right? This is going to throw us exception. Hello? Compiler is not giving any error,
Yes,
right? It is not checked, right? So you are able to hit the run button. In the runtime, you are able to see the error. In the runtime, you are seeing the error, but not in the compilation time. Compiler is allowing you to compile successfully. Because compiler is not designed to handle an exception that could occur in the runtime. Because I have given the direct inputs here, but in the real time, you would expect this input from the end user, yes or no? Would ask two numbers for the division purpose. End user will hit the first number and the second number. You want to divide the second number by the first number, right? If the denominator is 0, because of end user's mistake, no, system is generating an exception, right? Java generating an exception. That's why some exceptions cannot be handled by compiler, because these things are taken in the real time. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
These things
Yes,
are
sir.
taken in the real time. So I am just doing it for the understanding purpose. I am just doing this, but in the real time, you would use the scanner class, and you would expect two inputs. The second input could be the 0, that could generate an exception. So this is what unchecked exception. This is what unchecked. To see this in detail, I'm just giving you an hint. What is an unchecked exception? Right. So what are the checked exceptions? Yesterday we were discussing something. No, what is that? Yesterday we are discussing. Do you remember? File input stream. There is a class I have written, right? Hello. Yesterday,
Yes, sir.
yesterday I think. Yesterday only. Now let me write file input stream. Okay, FIS equal to new file input stream. Let me give any location. Let me give C something like some location I am giving. abc.txt. Okay. Now do you see a red line under this? Are you able to see this red line?
Yes, sir.
Which means
Yes, sir.
the compiler is asking you to handle this. Compiler is checking. Compiler is guessing. This piece of line would generate an exception because the developer is giving a location. That location might be there, it might not be there. Developer might have missed, accidentally entered or given a wrong location. Okay, things could go wrong. This is being censored by the compiler. When the exception is being censored by the compiler, that could come under what? That could come under the checked exception. So can I conclude that checked exceptions are recognized when the exceptions are handled at the compilation time, that is checked exception. When the exceptions are handled or generated at runtime, that is unchecked exception. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Compiler?
Can we call this exception as compile time exception?
Which one? Syntactical errors. No. That is not part of compile.
Not, sir.
Which one?
It was showing error during compile time, no?
Yeah, this is compile time
Then can
exception. Correct. We can call checked exception or compile time exception. Okay, but the power, typically you should stick to this word, checked exception, because and again compile time errors will also come, right? You cannot clearly differentiate. When you say checked exception, internally it is like compile time exception only. You should use the word checked exception. Hello? When if you use compile time exception, no issues. It's not going to be big deal. But there is a jargon, there is a word for that, a clear-cut word for that, checked exception. And again, internally checked is checked by the compiler. Unchecked means it is not checked by the compiler. Our example is what? Arithmetic exception. For the checked exception, example is what? IO exception, input. So it is asking you to handle this. Okay, it is asking you to add throw declaration. As soon as I add this file not found exception, okay, now the red line has been removed, right? So this is the handling mechanism. Okay, don't worry, this is handling mechanism which we will understand in the tomorrow's class. For now, stick to the topic. What is a checked exception and what is unchecked exception? Any exception that is checked by the compiler in the compilation time, that is checked exception. Any exception that could occur in the runtime, that is called as unchecked exception. how we are handling this, what is this source keyword, and why we are using a class name here. And we will understand these things in detail tomorrow in the tomorrow's class. Hello.